Hey everybody, Nate Carter here with today's Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. Well, I had a couple run-ins with the Holy Spirit recently that I wanted to tell you about. The first happened this morning as I was driving in to work, and the car was quiet, and I was thinking about this old plow truck that we need to sell, and I'm about ready to list it. And by the way, if you're interested, give me a call, and I'd love to tell you about it. But I was thinking about it, and it's about 36 years old, and obviously with something that old, it's not in pristine condition. It needs new brake lines, and it also needs a new water pump. But you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you had gone to a mechanic and had it checked out. And so I was thinking to myself, well, when I list it, I'll mention the brake lines because I don't want anybody to have an accident because they don't have brakes. But maybe I won't mention the water pump because, you kind of take a gamble when you buy a used car. Let them find that out. Maybe it'll do fine. Maybe it'll run for years without getting a new water pump. And I was just kind of thinking that through in my head, and just in the back of my mind as I'm thinking that through, I just heard these words, the golden rule, and I thought, yeah, that's right, God. Matthew 7:12. Jesus says, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets." And I thought to myself, first of all, if you were in worship with us, that's what Pastor Andy taught about this past week. And if you want the full exposition, please go back and listen to that on our website, cornerstonemarshfield.com. But I realized the Lord was speaking to me and saying, you just recently bought a vehicle. And we bought a used truck, 100,000 miles on it, and so I've spent the last 4 weeks hoping that I didn't miss something important that was wrong with it, when we bought it, because obviously it's got a lot of miles on it, it's got a lot of use, and things start to go wrong. And if there was something wrong with it, I really would have wanted the previous owner to disclose that so that we're getting what we pay for and we know what we're paying for. And that's exactly what we want to offer to the other person and who's going to buy our plow truck. And so I thought to myself, okay, Lord, yes, I will do that. I'll make sure to disclose the full condition of it because that's what I would want someone to do for me. And then this is kind of a silly one, but later on I was just doing some dishes, and at the end of washing the dishes, I washed my hands, was ready to go, and I looked down in the sink and I noticed, oh man, when you get all this like little leftover stuff that gets caught in the drain, I thought, I just washed my hands. I did the dishes, so maybe the next person can clean out the drain. And I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, the golden rule, reminding me again that I would never want the person who, used the sink before me to leave a bunch of crud in the bottom of the drain. And so, but I said, Lord, but I just washed my hands. And that didn't bother God at all. So I went and emptied out the drain because, obviously I've got to confess to you guys that I was listening to the Holy Spirit. And so I did, and washed my hands again. And it cost me about 40 seconds. And so it wasn't a real big deal. But this is how the Holy Spirit speaks to us. And both times I want to point out, I was in a quiet place where I could hear this really, really subtle voice within my spirit reminding me what the Lord wants to say to me. Oftentimes we don't hear God because we're not quiet enough. We're trying to have our quiet time, but it's noisy around us. We're trying to pray, but we've got distractions. And so I think that we often are missing what the Holy Spirit has to say because we're not quiet enough to hear it. One more thing I want to mention to you, and this goes back to what Pastor Andy shared yesterday or 2 days ago in our sermon. Listen to the Message translation of the same verse, Matthew 7:12. He says, "Here's a simple rule of thumb guide for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you, then grab the initiative and do it for them. Add up God's law and prophets, and this is what you get." I love that idea of taking the initiative. It's not a passive approach to life. And as Pastor Andy said this past Sunday, it's not just do no harm. but it's about actively doing good. So friends, live out Jesus' commandment, the golden rule, in your life this week as you are actively looking for ways that you can do to others what you would have them do unto you. God bless you, and we'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.